Hello.
How you doing, Daniel?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good, good.
So you're driving someplace, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm actually at Home Depot waiting. I had to drop my husband off so he could get a rental truck, so he can go to Costco's and pick up some furniture. So he's out getting the truck, and then I'm just being his little helper today.
Cool, that's great.
So yeah, yeah. We went into Costco's yesterday, and we've been looking for something for our basement, and we went food shopping, and then we saw this furniture that they had, and we really liked it. You know, Costco's things go really quickly.
Yeah.
And so they have limited supply, and it goes really quickly. So we said, let's get on it today before it all goes over the weekend.
So what was it? What did you get?
It's like a sectional with a what do you call it? It's a sectional, but it also has a what do you call those long things? What is the word's just escaping me?
Yeah.
The long thing that you can lay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What the heck's the word?
Chaise lounge. What else did you got?
It's
Hey,
not.
Carol?
It's not a. What the?
Hello there.
But anyway,
What do you call
that's what
the
I
long
got.
part of the sectional? Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey there.
What is it?
A chaise or a lounger?
Chaise. That's it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah, we just got one too. And,
no, I was just telling him we're.
I have a good chaise. It's right here.
Well, that's a settee. That's not a chaise.
Oh yeah, that's it. Is a different kind. Yeah. Yeah. How are you,
Yeah,
Kelly?
we just got one
good.
about 3 months ago, and then with the new house, we're getting another one that we just ordered. It takes like 3 months for one with a custom fabric on. It's ridiculous, and it's like four times more than the one in Costco. So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Delivery everywhere is backed up.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Yeah. COVID's really hurt that business. And they're doing well. They can charge whatever they want to charge, but it just takes forever to get the stuff.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for getting on the call. I'm glad you did.
Oh, not a problem.
This will be great. So I just kind of wanted to get us together to kind of talk about, like, Dania had obviously been circulating her job description around, and I need to take a look at mine and revamp it. And just kind of wanted to see, Greg, how Dania and I can take things off your plate and kind of help to move anything forward. That's something that maybe you don't have to be involved in, that we could at least try and help out. And both of us, I think, are super excited to kind of dig in and get working on things. So I just wanted to kind of get the gang together, because Dania was like, I'd love to have something to do and a task. And I was like, well, we should all talk, because maybe we can coordinate this a little bit better, and then even give some type of an update or present to the team what's going on. I know, Greg, you have that investor information. I don't know if you want to share that more with Dania, but just wanted to kind of get the gang together and see what we could be working on.
Yeah, Dania, we have a new potential investment banker that wants to work with us, and they say they have a bunch of investors ready to go. So I'll be spending the rest of the day doing documents for that. So we have that, and hopefully they'll be able to come through. But it was a bummer that Corey couldn't come through with investors. But he
told me he gave you a name. Did he give you a name to check on?
I don't think so. He may have, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he said he gave you a name, because I said, because he reached out to me, and I said, so you couldn't help Greg, or you couldn't help us out? He's like, no, I gave him a name to follow up on, that was of somebody that can help. So I could circle back with him to kind of
ask
what
him
he's talking about.
One guy called me, and that's the guy that I'm planning on working with, this guy named Dave. But Leslie just wanted to know if she could come in. it might be the same guy.
Yeah, I think it is. Because if Dave called you, maybe Corey gave Dave your information.
Yeah, and I got Dave from another guy named Xavier.
Okay, so I'll circle back with Corey to find out who this person is and how how helpful he can be.
Yeah, please, that would help because we do need, we got to get. So we just have to get this done. So it's
yeah. Who's getting that?
Very nice. Well, I'm glad we closed that loop. That's great.
Oh, we also got something else. We won $110,000 in Amazon Web Services services. So we are going to save $110,000 in web costs over the next year or two. So that's pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just got that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
So that's going to help a lot with our costs as we go forward. The developer, it's not going to change the developer's price. In fact, I think the developer's price is going to go up because we're asking for some stuff that they see as beyond the scope of the original request.
Gotcha.
It isn't, but that's fine. They asked a really good price, and what they're doing is really good so far. So I have no problem with that. Also, I've been speaking with people to help revamp the logo a little bit. It's not going to change it much, but in fact, hold on, let me see if I can get it up.
Well, I mentioned that just to keep it in the back of your head, Dana has someone she works with that she really likes. So if we ever need graphics on a one-off or anything like that, I think she's got this person she likes. So let's keep them in mind.
Well, okay.
Yeah, he did my coachforce.com website. He did my Ben Force basketball website and logos. So I use him for everything. He does my Mothers Against Racism flyers, anything I need. He's really cheap, good guy, and he can do whatever you think you need. You obviously know more than I do, but he can do everything. And
well, all of that sounds good.
That does sound good. Let me show you the things that this person's been working on. We're trying to get colors, but this is what they've done thus far. Hold on, let me share the screen. Okay, so you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not changing it too much. I think what we're going to be doing is squishing the sports a little bit tighter together. And probably going for using the circular thing in the middle only for t-shirt chest decals and possibly for like stick-on decals. But the letterhead is going to look like the top one, UB Sports. We're going to squish the sports a little bit together. And the bottom one will be also being used for like hats and that kind of stuff. And possibly for the back of shirts. So that looked pretty cool.
So we're sticking with black and gray and white?
No, we're going to go with
those colors?
No, we're going to go with a lighter blue and red. And we don't know which one to go which. We don't know if the UB will have the blue or the sports will have the blue, but the other one will be like an orangey red. Okay. And the way we're talking about is we'll have one that's a very strong color, and the other one will be a new color, not just a regular royal blue. So we're looking to adjust those a little bit. Also, I think their suggestion was for the health and wellness side of UB Sports to have more gentle colors rather than a strong red and a coordinating blue. So they're coming back with color schemes for that. So, you'll see, it'll still say UB Sports and use the same UB and the same font, but it'll be different colors. So that was just a suggestion from those guys. And I wanted to shoot that by you guys. What do you think about that? Having like basically two different sections of the site, one that comes across more genteel rather than the straight out sports, which will still have the, the broad, strong colors.
The red and the blue together, I just think in general might be busy. Like I'd have to take a look at it in colors because I think we run the risk of it being busy. But if once they colorize this, it's hard to kind of take a look at it when it's not done. I don't necessarily have a problem with a different lighter set of colors. I think it would look great.
All right.
I just
agree.
think you don't want to confuse people. We're launching a brand. I think you don't want it to be overly complicated. Like you have to have some type of consistency.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree
absolutely.
with that, Kelly.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'd have to look at what they're proposing because the reason that all of these logos end up being so strong, like a Nike or an Under Armour or something like that, is that they were consistent and they were simple.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we don't want to start doing, like, if we launch something 2 years from now, that's like a lighter color scheme, that's one thing because we'll have been established. But I think I don't think it's a good idea to start doing different levels of stuff right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree. That makes a lot of sense. So on that front, even though we don't have the colors, do you think that would be smarter to have if we're using like the red and the lighter blue, would you want the UB to be a lighter blue or the sports to be a lighter blue?
I would have to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
have to see it too. Yeah.
We'll get them to
Poor-
produce that. All right. That's cool. All right, so that's my thought on that one. Cool. Hey, Pup.
Yeah, sorry, she's very involved in Zooms. She feels like she needs to be in charge of me. I don't know why. She's like my little shadow. Okay, so Greg, so what can we be taking off your plate? What can we work on that we can help you with?
All right, we have to start thinking about the sources of revenue that we're going to have when we kick off this thing, and the sources of revenue we can have right now. One, right now, we need to really build the Shopify site. We need to get the manufacturers on board, and we need to get their products. I just signed up Wilson, so we have Wilson, all the racket sports and paddles, and we're working on the golf and other stuff that they do. So that'll be in our hopper shortly. But we do have the full range of Wilson rackets and paddles and balls and that kind of stuff. Turns out that the platform balls, we can make some money on the platform balls, which is pretty cool. Usually balls are like a 3 or 4%
Oh,
spread.
people go through those like crazy.
It's unbelievable how fast you use up a paddle ball at $4
Yeah,
each.
we're going through them like crazy.
Yeah, and they're expensive as hell. It's ridiculous. So the our Wilson actually is about a 50% markup from wholesale.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I can't get Viking for that price. So Wilson's the only other choice. So anyway, we need to start working on that. All the manufacturers, agents that we know, we need to talk to. Any distributors that we know that handle a bunch of different manufacturers for each one of our sports. I think we have to take on. Kelly, I would say you should go directly to the hockey people. Dana, if you can talk to the manufacturers reps for basketball stuff, that would be helpful.
Yep. Could do it. Okay.
Just out of curiosity, is this being tracked anywhere, Greg? Like, do you have like a spreadsheet? Like or is it just all up in your head? Because I'll start it if we want to maybe track it somehow of like who we're talking to and who's talking to who and all that kind of stuff. Do you want me to
I
kind of
actually
put
just
pen to
started
paper on
Google
that?
Doc. I just started the Google Doc with that stuff.
Okay.
We don't gotta get your card.
Yeah, you actually
Yeah, just
find
because
that
I
up
think
on-
it'd be
let's
let's do that because I think that I can take a stab at it. Yeah.
Okay, I think you'll find something already on Figma for that. I loaded something. We're using a Google Docs there, and I think
Yeah,
there's
I'll take a
also
look. And if I can't find it, I'll just shoot you a note and see if you can direct me.
Right. So that's actually, I think, a really smart thing for us to start doing because we got to build that. Also,
Okay, great.
we have to have a conversation with those guys about advertising on UB Sports. It's not just the stuff we want, it's the fact that we want to get their ads up on UB Sports. And
Right.
so if we can just get contacts with their, either they're doing it directly, the reps are doing it directly, or they have advertising people in-house and higher up in the company. So we got to get those names and phone numbers and stuff, and we got to start talking to them. We're going to use, I think HubSpot has a free CMS and lead organizer. So if we can do that, keep the stuff on HubSpot, that would be smart. I just opened up that account yesterday. So I'll get that information.
What are they, a CRM?
Yeah, they have a free CRM.
What are they, Greg?
Customer relationship management.
Okay.
And that includes a directory of the names and addresses and where we are in the process, that kind of database. So
Cool.
it's
Okay.
pretty much like Salesforce.
That's great.
And I have a friend who
I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Have you used Salesforce?
I've used it when I was at the Devils. Yeah.
All right. Did you like it?
So this is 5-year-old information. I did like it. It wasn't as pertinent to my area as it was to, we really used it for targeting for tickets. So like we would take in our customer data, get an understanding of what they would do, analyze them, and figure out how to build ticket promotions.
Okay.
So it was much more developed for the ticketing side. What I did when I was at the Devils was I oversaw all of the corporate marketing for the team in the building. So like I oversaw the relationship with Ford. I oversaw Budweiser. I oversaw Heineken. I oversaw Pepsi. So for us, it was like, we'd throw a slide in one of our sales pitches to them to just get an understanding of who they were targeting. So that like we could re-up them at more money, because we would prove to them that we had like an affluent customer, for instance. But it wasn't, the way that it was just designed wasn't as pertinent to my level of the business. So I didn't use it as much. But I mean, any of those CRMs, like you can build them. I mean, you have to have one. They're like your Bible.
Yeah, you can actually build it on Excel, but that's, I don't think it's.
I think that they always have like really interesting insights, and like there's just different things that they can all do that like just show us who our people are, and like if we're missing people that we should be getting, like that kind of becomes apparent. Like I think they're absolutely, you have to have them. Like you're flying blind if you don't.
Yeah, and one of the things they asked for is for me to load all my contacts onto the database. I have like 10,000 leads there for the past 10 years. And I don't know where to start.
I'm telling you, if you go through your cell phone, there's like people in there that I'm like, I talked to this person one time 10 years ago. Like, how do I have this person's phone number in here? Like, you have to like jog your memory.
Yeah, I literally, exactly right. I have no idea. So I'm going to, once we get the site set up and we start doing this thing, I'm just going to take a letter a week and just start calling people and trying to reestablish who they are, where they are, what they're doing, and how they can help us.
I think
so we have to think if it's going to be Salesforce. I'm actually playing squash with a guy who works for Salesforce later on today. So that's a nice coincidence. So I'll
sorry, I got kicked off. My phone got too hot.
Okay.
Yeah, I would ask them, because we have to just figure out what we're going to use it for, and then I think you back it out from that to figure out what we want.
Right. So there's obviously sets of leads that we need. One is going to be for the manufacturers, 2 is going to be for the advertisers, and 3 really is going to be for the people who are going to use UB Sports. And that's going to be subsets. There's going to be schools, yoga trainers, athletic trainers, and the leagues and the national governing bodies. So those are going to be
pivoting a little bit, because I know these guys are on the call and it's important to them. What's the latest going on with the recruiting app?
Recruiting app.
And is there anything else they could be doing?
Yeah. Okay. So the recruiting app. Okay, this is where it can get really interesting. But we're at the point now where we're going to build the physical stats. In fact, I'm building this page today. the physical stats, which is like how, you know, what your sizes are, how tall you are, how much you weigh, how much, what your reach is, that kind of stuff, you know, your literal physical characteristics. Second one is the performance characteristics that are basic. How much I can leg press, how much I can curl, how much I, you know, the bench press, how high I can jump, that kind of stuff. Then the next step is going to be how fast I can run, how agile I am, how strong, you know, those kind of things, the performance things. The next is going to be the stats for the sports that I play, and that's where it can get really interesting. And we need to go to each sport, talk to coaches in that sport, and get stats for each position. You know, for basketball, you're going to have stats for different positions. For all the ball sports, there's going to be different positions and different stats that we need. We need to at least know what stats the coaches need and what the range of the answer could be. You know,
so why don't we do this? So rather than you having to do all of that, why doesn't Dania handle basketball?
Exactly.
Yeah, I already have a recruiting question we would put on our website for prospects to fill out. And it has all the pertinent information that we need. So we have that covered for basketball. We don't have to do much research on that at all.
I'll handle hockey because my dad, I think, still talks to like the Harvard coach and all those guys. So I can handle the hockey one.
Good. Leslie, do you want to take a shot at the stats for rowing?
Yeah, I can do rowing because I'm in that league now. I mean, you could do lacrosse too. Lacrosse is out there.
Yeah, well, absolutely, we need lacrosse. And
I can do lacrosse unless you want to do it.
And there's, you know, track and field so easy. You just don't. Only thing you use the time.
I can do baseball too.
So I could do volleyball if that's
definitely.
I got volleyball, so I'll do basketball.
I definitely don't know anyone in that world.
Yeah,
that's like so off my radar.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so Kelly, you're gonna take hockey.
I'm going to take hockey. I can take baseball. I can take lacrosse.
Does that include softball?
I can take softball. And I'm trying to think if I know anyone in football.
I do.
Okay, then you take football.
Yeah, I got football. Yeah, I definitely can get football, basketball, and volleyball.
What about soccer? Does anyone know anyone in soccer?
Yeah, I could talk. I've got a pro team I could talk to.
Okay.
Let's see what they need. Okay, so Leslie, you're going to take rowing?
Yeah, I think I know people in lacrosse, but if Kelly wants lacrosse, I mean, think of anything else I don't really know. I have any contacts outside of lacrosse.
Well, why don't you take lacrosse then, and I'll just handle hockey, baseball, softball.
Yeah, it's a
lot. Why don't both you take lacrosse and ask the same question? What stats you need for each position?
Okay, cool.
Because it might be different. That's what I'm curious about, whether they're going to be different stats from different coaches they need. And, you know, it's going to be a very interesting challenge because some people are going to have different stats that they need.
So you want us to get these stats, just list them by sport, and then you're going to give them as like data points. They're going to put it into the recruiting app, right?
Yep.
Right. And if we have that request for each one of the sports and each one of the positions, it's going to be a lot easier for a coach to sign on. Number one, because the stats are going to be there and it's already loaded for them. Number two, they know that we're serious, that we've done our work. And maybe more so than anything else. That's what's really important right now. Okay, so.
Are they going to have the option, and again, this might be like a level 2 thing, are they going to have the option to customize? Like, let's say we preload it, but they want something else. Like, are they going to have that option?
Absolutely. Not only will they have the option to customize it for them, but as we see it, we'll be able to oversee it and say, you know what, that's a really good idea, and add it to the app itself. So definitely we're going to have a place where you can customize. That's going to be really important. So yeah. Now, also,
this is a good project.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I really need to get these things done. I need to have like a few coaches that we ask for each one of the sports. So,
well, this is perfect that we can take this off your plate, because again, like I feel like you've got enough going on with the investor doc and all that kind of stuff that like we want to be doing stuff.
Yeah, we definitely need to
You
get,
know, so let us work on this.
yeah, because right now it's just this amorphous blob of stuff we need to know that we need to know stuff, you know, and we don't really know that stuff yet.
Well,
So-
and again, I think that and if it's just this team, but like we're happy to get on a call on a weekly basis and make sure we're moving things along, because we just don't want to get to a point where all of a sudden we launch and there's all these things that we could have been working on this whole
Right,
time.
exactly. And that's
So we
really
want to
important.
keep moving the ball forward.
So far
just to
we
throw
have
out a really cheap-
manufacturers, right? We need manufacturers. We need to know advertisers, if we know of anyone who wants to advertise on a sport by sport basis or just a nationwide basis. Like, you know, obviously Ford would be great programmatically for any sport. But then you have like Easton for bats, you have the Lacrosse Warrior and all the rest of them. And hockey, the same thing. There's Easton and a bunch of others.
Can I
companies
ask a question? Have you gotten like a sense of feedback whether that they want to advertise on the site, or you're just putting out feelers? Where are we in that?
What do you mean?
Like as far as advertisers, like I always feel like advertisers will follow like the content. Like once people are on the site, then they'll come and they know people are there first. I'm just wondering if you're kind of putting feelers out, or they're definitely interested before it launches, or do they want to see it launched and see like, you know, what the site is? I mean, you have to.
You know what? We're taking names and numbers now, and we're asking if they would and what their budget might be. And you can use a penny a view. The idea is that we're going to charge a penny a view for however long it takes. You're going to preload $500 into it or $1,000 into it, and $500 gets you 50,000 views. That's a lot of views. So it won't be, you know, $500 is not that much for these guys to spend on that, especially with national accounts. So you can use that to start and just see if they're interested. And then next thing we have to do is get the actual banners. There's a lot of things we have to do that take about a month total to get loaded into the system. They have to give us the banners. They have to tell us what sizes they need, that kind of stuff. And then we have to get the account set up for them. So we're going to be using, there are a couple things from Google. They have AdWords, AdSense, and DFP, which stands for Double Click for Publishers. They bought that a couple years ago, and that's the industry standard for setting up ads. So they would like to know that kind of stuff when we're doing it, you know, that we're really going to track these things properly. And that's like it. That's what we need for the advertisers. We're going to need the stats from the coaches. And that's really where we are right now for, you know, what we need on an ongoing basis. And of course, we get down to the last part, and that is the organizations that have the athletes, the schools, leagues, teams, that kind of stuff. And we all know those guys. And we have to start getting them excited. It's going to be a lot easier when we have the site demo up and working. But right now we have to use a few pages from the current demo that's on Figma. And I tried sending that to somebody yesterday, but when I copied all the site pages, it came out to like 50 megs, and that's too much to send through email. So I'm going to pare it down to like 3 important ones and send it out to you guys.
I think that, and I don't want to get totally off track, but I just want to keep throwing it out because I just have heard a lot of chatter in the sports world about this. And I think it's just something that it's a really interesting time with all these D1 athletes getting to do their own licensing and promotions and endorsements and stuff like that. I think that just to keep it in the back of our head on how we can possibly monetize that. If we end up being some type of a service, for parents or resource for parents or something like that, I just think we should remember that that's happening, because I was on the phone with a couple agents recently, and they're starting to get a lot of calls because nobody knows what to do.
Of course.
So it's definitely a potential moneymaker if we can somehow become a resource for, and again, that's my background. So like, I'm happy to be the person that heads that up, but all of these D1 athletes getting to do endorsement deals and their parents are basically their agents, like they don't even know where to start. So I think that it's just something that we should just consider, that if we could somehow be a resource to those parents, and again, maybe this loops in with the parents portal and all that kind of stuff. I just think that we just kind of keep that in the back of our minds, that the licensing and stuff like that coming up is definitely an opportunity to make money.
And I think, Kelly, to that point, we do have some time because of COVID. They're less, obviously the games are televised, but that was sort of put on the back burner.
Totally.
There weren't a lot of people in the stands. So we have some time to really think about this and really set it up and prepare it. So once all of this, all the restrictions are lifted and people are going back to being in the stadium and seeing more of their athletes, student athletes, we have, we're ready to go. So
and I think this is the right team. I think this is the right team for it. And I think that, whether we loop it as part of the parents portal or whatever, I just don't want us to forget that, because I was on the phone with an agent who represents a couple guys that are in the NFL, and they're dipping their toe into the college basketball world. And they're starting to see that. They called me to ask me for advice. So I know that it's something that's happening. So I know that we had talked about that at one point, but Greg, that could be a tremendous revenue generator.
Yeah. I mean, I know image and likeness is the big one coming out, right? You've heard of that. Image and likeness. Okay. They might dominate the space, right? That sounds like they're the first. I don't know if they're the biggest.
Well, nobody knows, nobody's done anything in it. So I think that part of the problem is there's not really any rules right now. So that's where you can start to, it's just a really, really interesting time.
I mean, like maybe it's like you have a portal for the little high school aspiring college athletes. You've got one for parents of high school athletes. It could be either a crossover between the parents portal. You can have another one, like a college portal. So it's my daughter is all the time off. She's starting to do modeling, right? How do they find you? They have to go in there. There's, and they have to have different agents that have, maybe you wouldn't be, the agents will be scouring around trying to find this talent, right? How do they find it? So maybe you make a portal for Division I athletes who are interested, maybe it's a whole other portal, and then they can scour around. It's like a source for agents to come in here. Maybe you're not the agent, right? But you're the place where they promote.
We're the conduit.
Yeah.
I think we're the connectors.
And you could make maybe a D1, because it's going to be D1 only, right? D1 with top 3 sports or whatever it is for these guys and some girls that are going to, be put their foot in that and they want to get noticed. And maybe it's a portal for people to find them. That's what it is.
Totally. So just wanted to throw it out there as something to think about.
Well, we don't have to limit it to D1. I mean,
no one's signing a D3 athlete.
Yeah, I think it's D1.
But there's D2,
and it's going to be the top couple sports.
I think even it's going to be the top of the top is going to get any type of a deal. I don't think.
Wendell Clark was D3.
Wendell Clark was D3.
or maybe, but it could even be it could be some random thing for instance, my son is rowing and they're making this. I bought him for Christmas. He has this movie, the book, The Boys in the Boat, which is a famous cult, book for the sport, and they're making it into a movie. Maybe the people making the movie, the producers, they need rowers. Right? They want real rowers. And now they can hire the guys from the best, schools and put them in the film, right? So how are they going to find them? They're going to call the schools, or they could go on a portal like this, see who the athletes are that are interested. And then you're not tracking them down backwards from the coach and looking at the schools. You can go here and see what athletes are interested in doing that. So it could be sports specific like that, but you're probably right. It's the top couple sports and probably, sadly, mostly, men, not women, but it'll be.
But just, it's just something that it's definitely something that we can make money on. So I just didn't want us to forget about it because I feel like we haven't talked about it in a while.
Okay. So how would we charge?
Even if it's.
What, Greg?
How would we charge and who would we charge?
You get a percentage of the deals. So it's if we're the conduit to collect, to connect people, you get 20%.
So actually
you actually act like an agent.
Like the producers would be charging. I mean, be paying for it.
Yeah. Let me build something so that we can have an actual revenue model to look at. And I'm certainly happy to loop you guys in, but let me take a stab at actually building what this could look like, because there's just so much money in licensing.
Yeah.
That I feel if we're not taking advantage of it.
I mean, I think we talked about this before. I think this is one of the big openings. I was talking to someone else in sports that was working for the LPGA women's, you know, and she said, this is the big opening. Like no one's really doing anything in this
Well,
space. Like,
it's just, they don't know what to
like,
do.
it's like, you know, this is like, it's like up for the taking, right? I mean, it's right for the taking. So it makes sense to think about how A, how to do it right and be credible, and then B, how to make money off it. But I think the first way is to like think about how to approach it and what your role is. You know, you're not a sports agent. You know, so I don't know. I mean, you have to think about
But
that.
we could be. I mean, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the whole thing, is we
Yeah.
could be it could be an agency role. I think it's just a matter of like, from what I'm hearing, all the guys at like CAA and Wasserman and all those big agencies, they don't have time to deal with these smaller like one-off deals. So these kids are kind of not getting an audience with those guys because they want to deal with like the top pro athletes. So I just think there's an opportunity to, like, nobody's leading in this space right now. And I
And a
think
lot of it,
go ahead.
I guess a lot of it is because a lot of people don't know anything about it other than it just being passed. Like, hey, now athletes can do X, Y, and Z. There's
Right.
no, like, we need to be informational. We need to first understand what it's all about, number one, and then provide that information for others who don't know what it's about. I think once we provide that information, now we're the source.
Yes.
That we know what we're talking about, and now people are going to be more likely to use us as a resource to be that conduit. I think we definitely need to be informational first, whether that just means within ourselves and then putting it out there, because we don't want to put out the wrong information or do it the wrong way, I should say. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just
I'm
so
with you,
new.
but I really think we have potential to own this space, and it's going to be an extremely lucrative space. So
Yeah.
let me do a little bit more research
Yeah,
on it. Greg,
that's what I was
maybe
gonna say. Yeah, let's do some more research on it.
Let me do
Yeah.
some more research on it, and maybe we can get back together next week and I can present on it, because it's just an untapped market that I know there's a lot of dollars left out.
One of the concerns that I have is how how it will conflict with the NCAA rules. And, you know, a lot of these, you know, the NCAA has rules, but it seems like there's a lot of holes in the rules. And we have to
Totally.
find out
Right.
how we manage, you know, people
Right.
will be asking us that question. You know, am I going to get in
Exactly.
trouble? Will I be able to play? That kind of stuff. And yeah, sure, it's you know, you don't have a season this year because of freaking COVID, but will your participation in a video or something else ruin that? So we need a black and white answer on that.
Definitely. Agreed.
Hi, mister.
All right. So I have actually
yeah.
a resource down in Atlanta who was really studying this. I'm going to see if I can get a definitive answer from them as far as what we can do as far as videos and endorsements and that kind of stuff.
I mean, it could be like the portal where you're looking for high school, you know, coaches go to pluck up high school athletes that are, you know, what they're looking for. And then this could be like whomever is looking for college athletes that are, you know, that are in the right, you know, sport and the right ability level for whatever they're looking for. It's a promotional vehicle for the athletes, but you got to figure out how.
I think it's bigger than that. It's like Nike trying to sign athletes. Like, I think we have to take it. Like, I don't think you even touch. Like, I think you have to think bigger. At least that's like my thought process, is the lucrative deals are going to be coming from like these major manufacturers are going to sign these college athletes for the first time. I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you're the portal. You're the intermediary. How they're going to find them, right? Because otherwise, they're like, you know, they're just how these people that are, they're going to look at the top teams, the top sports, and look at the superstars and pluck those. But there's a level underneath that, maybe like you want anyone who wants to be who's a star in their sport in college. This is how they get themselves out there. Like, it's like you like almost like, you know, kind of like an agent, like the visibility.
Yeah, I think you're thinking about it from the other perspective. I'm talking about it from the person signing the kids. Like, every kid wants to be a superstar. Like, that's not gonna, not to be rude, but that's not gonna help us. You know, for us to make money, like, if we're the place that Adidas comes to find their athletes and understand their, like, I think we have to think like top tier level there.
Yeah.
Just a thought, again, just throwing it out there. I need to do a ton more research on what actually is going on and what the rules are.
Yeah, you have people in CAA, you were saying?
Mm-hmm.
Ask them what gaps they have. And
I've got a couple guys. I've got a guy that's he's an independent and he does Olympic athletes.
Cool.
And then I've got I know the entire hockey team over at CAA really well. There's only 3 guys. And then I know a couple baseball agents too. But yeah, I'll try and see how they're tackling the college stuff, because it's fascinating to me right now that that's
Well, I mean,
happening.
these guys have all been thrown up in the air. I mean, it's like someone took a bucket of golf balls and threw it up and said, "Here, you know."
Totally.
now what?"
No, totally.
So
And there's a way for these agents. There's a lot more money involved with professional athletes than these college athletes.
Right. So they're blowing them off.
So they're not ready to handle that yet. So like Kelly said, any kind of guidance or assistance they can get to making that connection easier instead of having to do all that work that they would do for a professional athlete. You know, we could be that.
Totally. That's kind of my point, is the fact that like those guys at CAA, like they're all bogged down trying to take care of their top tier pro athletes. Like they don't have time for these guys yet. So that's where I think we can really come in.
okay.
And
Also,
I'll talk to some basketball agents.
Cool.
and get
Because
some-
Dania, I
some of
think
their
in your
perspective.
world, I think you're going to end up being really tapped into this.
Yeah.
So
for
I
sure.
think that if you could start to even just talk to some of your coaching friends and see if they're getting questions about it, like
Right.
what kind of questions are they getting? Like what kind of, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is like, what kind of information are these people looking for that we could help
Yeah.
out?
I can tell you right now, it's going to be most of the Power 5 basketball and football schools that are going to produce those type of athletes that's even worthy of,
Yeah.
those type of contracts.
Hey, look,
So
I mean,
it's-
college football is like one of the most lucrative licensing products
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. Like everybody
why
wants to be in college
That's
football.
why the rule was made. That's why they let it happen, because
Yeah.
the kind of money that they're making in college football is ridiculous. That's for these student athletes not to have a cut. or
so
say
I
in
feel
any of
like
it.
the
So
college football also, because I think part of it is like you're tapping into like alumni bases too, right? And so like alumni bases, those people donate so much money to their sports programs, and just to think that the merchandise that could come out of this like blows my mind. Like I get so excited about it because it really, I mean, it's a lot of money.
okay.
Sorry, I got really excited about that topic.
no, actually, I also have a connection with obviously the USOC and their athlete career and education system.
Cool.
And I'm getting a really tight relationship with the person who's running that, and they probably also have ideas about that, about licensing and that kind of stuff. So I'll ask Angelique what she says.
Cool. Well, I was trying to be respectful of everyone's time and keep this to right around 45 minutes. So we're pretty much there. Greg, is there anything else? I think we've got a nice, healthy list of stuff we can work on. Is there anything else that you can think of?
That's the important one. And no, I think we pretty much covered it. Dana, do you think I could have a call with Dee next week?
Oh, sure. I could work on
Yeah.
that. What about
Yeah.
what's her name?
Laura.
The health and wellness girl?
Laura. Yeah,
Yeah.
Laura.
Definitely, we have to get back with her. I have a lot of
Yeah.
resources that have come up over the past couple of weeks that really, we put them all on the
Okay.
site, and it's going to be unbelievable. So we have to start making a list. This is another one we have to do through a list on HubSpot or wherever we decide to do a CRM. We start putting these resources into one place. It's going to be really important. That'll be for content, for video, for being involved on a higher level, not just as a member on the site. So let's work on that. Yeah, and we'll systematize that over the next few days, so we can do that.
Greg,
So
what about a little bit of housekeeping? What? Can you hear me? Did you get?
I hear you.
Say it again.
Did you hear me? I don't know if I lost you guys. Can you guys
Yep,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
I just said, what about a little bit of housekeeping on the internal business side? The structure of what we're trying
Oh, we lost her.
stuff.
Okay.
Is there anything you need help with, like?
Oh, everybody's stuck now.
So anything Kelly and I can do more of a
Yeah, I'm losing
Well,
them
also,
too.
Greg, I had a follow up. Like, so you, what do you, how are you doing with all these different groups like U.S. rowing, and I know you mentioned it earlier, but
Let
like
me jump off,
that's a big one.
guys.
Okay,
Sorry.
baby calls.
Uh,
So
honestly,
how are that coming along?
it's
Hi, I'm
U.S.
back.
Rowing has not gotten back to me. They've been,
Hold on, babe.
it's like I've been talking to a blank wall over U.S. Rowing. So
Oh,
no one's
really?
gotten back to me.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out. I think that's very important to get all these. You got to get the bodies on. Everything else comes maybe like as a second thought, but you have to get like the groups, the clubs, the associations, all that stuff to like be interested and want to be on it, and then everything else kind of feels like secondary to me.
100%. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing is to get these groups on.
Yeah,
And
because if you build all this infrastructure and no one's there, then you're kind of you have to try and. I mean, it happens, I guess, in stages. But I would try and. I mean, I don't know how many of the associations you have that are interested that are going to go on. I mean, I know you had a list, but I think it's important to get as many you can, even like aware of it or excited about it or willing to partner. I mean, they don't know you, so they probably don't have any like unless you have a connection there. They don't know what you're building. They have to see it, so maybe it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we actually met about 40 of them so far, and they've all been interested. So I've been out to Colorado Springs a dozen times already. So
Right.
they all know that we're coming. They all know who we
You have a whole
are.
list. They're all on board, right?
Yeah, I mean, we only had one. Only U.S. Swimming said they weren't really interested. But everybody else was really interested.
Gymnastics. U.S. gymnastics.
Oh, I'm tight with gymnastics. I've got some gold medal winners in there, so we're good there.
Great. Okay, so I'm gonna sounds like all you need from me right now is to just look into the statistics for these couple sports, and that's what our marching orders are.
Yeah. Now, Daniel, you had a question. We lost you just when you were saying something about housekeeping.
Yeah. Anything that you need help with when it comes to just structuring this company internally? I know you're working on Gusto and job responsibilities, but is there any other kind of secretarial or documents you need us to kind of construct or help you construct? Take that off your plate.
Today, no. Next week, I will. I have to finish up a couple of documents myself for the company itself, and then we have to get down to the real brass tacks. Really, it's going to come down to marketing material. What are we sending to the schools to get them interested? What are we sending to the athletes to get them interested? All that kind of stuff. So that's that marketing is going to be really important. I think the materials that you guys have a different perspective from what I have. And it's going to be really important to make sure that we're hitting the pressure points for each, the pain points for each one of these groups, so that they say, yeah, I really need that. And that's particularly true for the coaches and for the pros in the business. The athletes will follow the coaches and the schools and the governing bodies. So we got to get them in. That's the most important part. So, if next week when we start really getting down to the details,
Our internal, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's.
Okay.
Do you want to have a call next?
More internal, like roles.
Yeah, I think right now the roles are pretty stable. That's going to have to solidify as we get more into this. But right now, I think I'm good with that. I think we have to think about where we are and how much time we can really commit to UB Sports, and if we need somebody to be full-time, what's their role going to be, and what are we going to call them, and that kind of stuff. And for myself, I'm full-time, 100%, 50 hours a week, and I think Daniel, you've got a whole other job, a whole other business. So, we have to consider ourselves with that.
I could be full-time with this. I'm available from 9 to 2. And my husband's doing most of the training right now. Obviously, due to COVID, I'm not going to expose the both of us to being around these kids.
Yeah.
So I'm in full-time. I'm in full-time. That's why we wanted to have this call, because I want to take on more responsibility and obviously take some things off your plate. obviously having the time available. So you feel free to give me that full-time role and give me those responsibilities and tasks that need to be done, because I'm very, very productive once I do have that task list and we can get down to business. And like I said, I really want to be a part of it full time. So when I'm calling these people, these investors and my connections, they know I'm full-fledged into this company.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
And and because I'm involved, a lot of people are also using that as a good opportunity to say it's be something good.
And if we just capture your basketball contacts and get like all of the NCAA in there and the pros, that's golden for us. So yeah, I definitely want to have you 100% involved in all that kind of stuff. And luckily,
Yeah, so you use me full time. If that's what you need, I'm here for you.
There's 40,000 high schools, 4,000 colleges, and a bunch of AAU and all the rest of the leagues. So there's certainly enough for you to handle, Dania, to say the least.
Yep.
All right, so let's
One more thing, Greg.
Let's figure out a time for next week. I'm pretty much free all the time. Do you want to have this conversation again? Say next Tuesday, 11 o'clock, or Wednesday? What works for you guys?
Either's fine. I had one more follow-up thing I was going to mention to you, that I do a lot of stuff with Columbia, and they just opened. Remember the Cava thing that was the incubator that they have?
Yeah.
There's actually one. It's one happening like I think early February, the 2nd or 3rd is the deadline, and they're opening up for the first time in 20 years to alumni. So they're giving free money. It's not an incubator like the one I sent you, the Cava. It's not an incubator. It's actually a fund coming from Columbia, and they're going to just start it with alumni. So they're giving money to Columbia started alumni associated with a new venture, and you can get like free money. And I can forward that to you, but that's something that is, there's no equity. It's not a venture capital. They're just giving away like grant money.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'll forward it to you. You'd have to, put my name with it, but you can think of that as an option to get some funding. And I've been on all these calls listening in the last couple of weeks, that it's the first time that alumni are really getting the money. Before it was all student ventures, student startups.
That's cool. There's
So
also
the deadline is like very soon. So I'll give you what I have, but I think it's like February 3rd or something. So you have to get it in. It's a form. And they probably want an MVP, so you can show them like your beta product that's in formation. But you can, I would sign up and see what you get, and you'd have to put my name with it. But then
send the stuff
gonna
on.
be competitive. Yeah,
Definitely.
But
Send it
I'll
on, and we'll turn it around immediately. There's, we have it all set up, ready to go. So I'm
that
doing
might be-
some financial stuff today for that new investment banker group, and then from then on, I'll be able to take that kind of stuff on.
Yeah, but it's not an incubator. It's just like grant money. So you're just getting money for the the startup. Okay, I'll forward that to you right now so you see it.
All right, so guys, let's
All right.
talk next Tuesday or Wednesday. What do you want?
Either works for me.
Just let me know.
Yep.
Okay, let me check my schedule.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Make sure I'm not.
What are the dates?
Monday. Do you like Mondays? Let's do the day.
Yeah, Mondays is good. Mondays at 11 was perfect.
I like the Monday thing. It's in my brain. I just feel like it's a pattern.
All right, so let's do it. It's same time, same place, Monday.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, ladies.
All
Have
right,
a great
bye
weekend.
guys. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You too, bye-bye.